And staying in Washington now, today Senate Democrats voted down a Republican effort to debate the GOP policing reform bill, effectively ending the Senate effort to rein in law enforcement as thousands of protesters continue to demand racial justice in the wake of George Floyd's death. 60 votes were needed to open debate on the bill from GOP Senator Tim Scott, which offered federal incentives to compel police departments to implement best practices, train in de-escalation, and end some controversial tactics, financially penalizing those who do not. But Democrats say the bill was, quote, irrevocably flawed. Senator Schumer calling it a fig leaf. Here was Senator Tim Scott after the failed vote.
Today, I lost a vote on a piece of legislation that would have led to systemic change in the relationship between the communities of color and the law enforcement community. We would have broken this concept in this nation that somehow, some way, you have to either be for law enforcement or for communities of color. That is a false binary choice.
Only 3 Democrats voted to open debate. Senator Doug Jones of Alabama was one of them, and he joins us now. Senator Jones, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure, Lindsay. Thank you.
So why did you decide to break ranks with the majority of Democrats? And were they wrong not to have that debate and offer amendments to the GOP proposal?
Well, I'm not going to say that they were wrong, Lindsay, but this is consistent with what I say and the way I've conducted myself in the Senate since I got here 2.5 years ago. I just believe that we need to vote. We need to have a debate on all the bills that are out there. I think this is an important moment in history. I think we have an important opportunity, and I wanted to see a full debate. I also wanted to see, though, a very fair amendment process. And to be fair to my Democratic colleagues, they absolutely did not believe that Senator McConnell would give them a fair process to make this bill stronger, because this bill is not adequate to do what Senator Scott said it would do. It is really very inadequate. I'm a co-sponsor of the Harris-Booker bill, but I think we should have debated, and I was hoping that enough of the Republican colleagues would come to the floor, talk to Senator McConnell, and let's have a full, fair, and open debate with serious amendment processes that could make this bill significantly better, get it in a position to go to conference with the House bill that's going to pass tomorrow, and let's get something done for the American people.
Your Democratic colleagues like Kamala Harris and Cory Booker say that this bill lacked teeth and was beyond amendment, arguing that it didn't include an outright ban on chokeholds or carotid holds or the use of no-knock warrants, and that it didn't create a national police misconduct database. Was there really any chance of getting those measures in through floor amendments?
I think it would have been difficult, but I think from my perspective, and again, I don't fault my colleagues for voting the other way, because there's a history with Senator McConnell of not having full, fair debate and full, fair amendments on this. So I can't fault anybody for that. I just look at it a little bit different way, and I wanted to give us the opportunity to do that. And we didn't have to vote for the bill. It would have still required 60 votes. And if this bill had not been strengthened to the point that I think it should have been, which would be much closer to the Harris-Booker bill, then it wouldn't have gotten the 60 votes, and it would have failed at that point. But I think not to debate it, from my perspective, was just the wrong move to make. It's my view that I can go back home and tell people I want to vote for a bill, I want to debate a bill, but at the end of the day, if it's not a bill that I can support, it's easy to justify not voting for it.
Senator Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said, quote, we're ready to make a law, not just make a point. But if that was the case, should Republicans have worked with Democrats on a bipartisan bill before bringing this to the floor? Were Republicans operating in good faith here, especially if they wanted a bill that could pass in the House or as well? Or are both sides just playing politics here?
No, look, I don't put the entire Republican caucus at Senator McConnell's feet. I think this was a Mitch McConnell deal. He knew that this vote was going to fail. He knew that it didn't have the votes to pass. He wanted to make a political point. That's what Senator McConnell often does, especially as you're moving into an election season when the Senate is in jeopardy for him. So I think that there are a lot of Republicans and Democrats who want to have a bipartisan discussions to sit down and see where we can find common ground. I still believe that we can find common ground because the American people want this, they deserve this, and I think everybody, it's in every state of the union, And I think we can do that, but this was just a way for Senator McConnell to blame Democrats for blocking things, and that's really very, very unfortunate. We should have had bipartisan discussions on this at the Judiciary Committee or in a separate committee as suggested by Senator Schumer and Senator Harris and Senator Booker. We would have been happy to do that. I supported that effort to do that.
And you said just now that we can still find common ground, but Senator McConnell has already said that he has no plans to bring a Democratic House bill for a vote in the Senate. So is police reform dead on arrival in Congress despite nationwide calls for change, or is there any potential for bipartisan negotiations on a bill that could salvage any of these reform efforts?
It's a good question, and I think that if we can, we need to have those discussions. Those discussions are going to take place, I believe, whether Senator McConnell approves of them or not. Ultimately, it will be the Republican caucus, if we can get something worked out with a number of different people that includes Senator Scott, includes Senator Harris, includes Senator Booker. If things can get worked out, I think there will be a tremendous amount of pressure to put it on the floor of the Senate because people want to see something done. I think that that is from all walks of life, all races, all religions, male and female across the board want to see us do something. And the problem we've got now is that with a bill that was not going to fail, the people think that we can't even talk to each other. And that's unfortunate because that's not what the Senate is about. We should be able to talk to each other, and the American people want to see us get something done and not play these political games.
And lastly, I just want to ask you quickly about COVID-19. Alabama is one of the states seeing a recent surge in cases. Any concern that people in your home state, especially young people, are not taking the social distancing and mask wearing guidelines seriously? And what, in your mind, needs to change in order to control the spread?
Well, there's absolutely a concern about that. It's been a concern of mine for some time. I said as the governor started opening the state back up, and I think our governor did a good job early on of trying to do the right thing and open up slowly. And she was also telling people at the time she issued her orders opening things back up, she was telling people it was safer at home to wear masks, to provide social distancing and the good hygiene. It's just that people didn't hear it and they didn't pay attention to it. And unfortunately, I think it's been politicized too much. And folks have ignored it. And I think there are not just young people. I think it's across the board, except for the elderly, who are in Alabama. Our seniors are very concerned about this. But people think that they've gotten the impression that this is just the flu, that they'll get sick, and they don't understand that the person next to them at the counter or the diner or wherever they go, maybe someone with a pre-existing condition, maybe having diabetes or a heart condition, and they could give that to them and they could end up dying. I think it's more personal responsibility. If we could get more people in Alabama and across the South and across the country exercising the personal responsibility of wearing masks and providing the social distancing, not making that such a dang political statement, then we can keep this under control. We're still going to see the virus. It is still out there. It's still deadly. And until we get a vaccine, it's up to everyone to protect each other.
Senator Doug Jones, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.